People of the vinyl world on YouTube. I'm back to do a recent Vinyl Finds video, and this time it's going to be no jazz, only psych, prog, and folk. And we are actually going to dig a little bit deeper into the sort of the private pressed records once again. Yeah, there's a few private pressed. But before we do, as always, cue music. So today I'm rocking my July t-shirt. I've actually started a Etsy shop, so I'm doing vinyl related obscure designs, so go in there and check that out. If you're based in Sweden, just PM me or whatever. I actually print these at work, so it's a little bit faster and a little bit cheaper also if you're a Swedish citizen, or else Etsy is doing all the job for me. So yeah, just contact me in that case. Many of these records that I'm going to show you is part of a sort of a pretty large pile of records that I managed to secure from a great guy here in Sweden. Collects the stuff that I'm into. I think that he's purging parts of his collection. So this is the second time that I'm buying a huge pile of records from him. And I'm going to start with the one that I just finished listening to. This is a private pressed folk record from Germany called Winter Serenade by the band Colibri. 1985, this is the second one that they made. They made one 1981 that I haven't heard. And as I said, this is private press, so it's super obscure. Really good production. Sounds great coming out of the speakers. Every single acoustic instrument is great. And it sounds a lot like this, actually. Friends playing beautiful music. Not expensive. I guess kind of rare. I mean, it's a private pressed record, but if you have the opportunity, I would grab one or at least check it out if you're into this sort of acoustic folk stuff. I'm probably gonna say this more than once today, but it's all true. This year has been all about ticking off want list items, not necessarily just super expensive rare stuff, but things that I've had for a while, and this is definitely one of them. It's been some years since I added this to the want list. Don Thompson's Jupiter, and I'm super glad that I have a copy of this now. This was released in 1975. Talk about sort of packaging and exclusive packaging. This is a private press record, but with a gatefold and that sort of nice textured, thick, almost cardboard-like paper quality. You also get an insert, which is open up like a pamphlet or whatever you call it, in the same paper quality, thick, and also a label. This is a beautiful record, all the way from the sort of sound quality to tracks to the musicianship, and the orchestration on this, the string arrangements, is just super beautiful and lush. It starts off with two songs that are good, and then it just keeps on going, getting even better and better as we move along. And I want to point out that the sort of the string arrangement on this is one of the best stuff that I've heard, not only because it's super nice in quality, but also that it's always in the background, working like a sort of a carpet for the artist or the musicians to really work with. And in my opinion, it's the perfect sort of blend between this sort of sing-songwriter 70s music and string arrangements. You need this in your collection. It's not expensive. I mean, this is a €20 record. This is the second. I think this is the second press. They released two back in 1975. They released two. It has never been reissued in any other format, and it costs €20. Now, if this cost €300, this would be a more well-known record. I bet it would be. Now it's just an obscure singer-songwriter record from 1975, private pressed. Get it. Okay, so the next one is, I'm a little bit ashamed of showing you this, because I should have a copy of this 1967 Country Owned Fish. This is the classic electric music for the mind and body on Vanguard Records. Looks like this. I mean, I've known this record since the times of Napster, I think. One of the records that I downloaded and discovered back in the day. I mean, standout tracks for me, the entire thing it's a 10, but standout tracks that is just to die for is Not So Sweet, Martha Lorraine, and Section 43, and also the ending track on side 2 with the sort of the jamming grace. Fantastic. This is one that you have to have in your collection. So don't be like me and just stall for decades. The next one looks and sounds like a private press, but it isn't. It's on a sort of major label. It's on Rare Earth. There were a point in my life where I tried to collect Rare Earth records, but I had to stop doing that because Rare Earth, the label, is such a hit and miss. Some, like the best stuff from Rare Earth is mind-blowingly good. But the rest of it's just so-so, and the bad things, and there are a few, are really, really bad. I have some Rare Earth records still on my want list, and this is one of them. So it's been on my want list since the day my want list started. Almost. Dennis Stoner, self-titled record. I think that he only released this in 1971. And this has the sort of the Rare Earth quality to it. It's soulful, but it's still a little bit of that folk, almost acid folk-ish. And the harpsichord, which comes and goes, is beautiful. It contains 2 covers, and I think that he does a pretty good job on the covers. The Story of Isaac is a Leonard Cohen tune, and also you have Southern Man by Neil Young. Yeah, and also The Girl from the Northern Country by Bob Dylan. Doing a pretty darn good job, and I have to say that there's a pile of Rare Earth records that you could own with that sort of quality music. This is one of them, and I should do a t-shirt of the Rare Earth label because it's one of the best looking labels in my opinion. And talking about great music, this one is a classic in the Prog catalog. This is Soup Sisters To The Highest Bidder, 1971. I think that this is the second one that they did, but maybe both came at the same year. So this is the first one I have of their sort of ordinary catalog. 4 tracks, 2 on each side. Great sort of almost jazzy, proggy Dutch music on Polydor. So there's the label there. So Soup Sister released 5 records, I think, from 71 to 74, 5. Very productive band, but in my opinion, the first 4 are fantastic records, and I've been looking for them, but I've never seen them here in Sweden, in any shops at least, and often I think that it costs a little bit too much online to really go for it. So this is the first one that I really got for a price I could live with. But the highest of recommendations when it comes to the music. Now, this is the German press. It's a single sleeve. This deserves the gatefold sleeve that the Dutch first press has. So don't get this. Get the other one. I fell onto this and I couldn't really refuse it. So it will be in the collection until I find a gatefold sleeve, because it's one of the coolest sleeves ever, and it deserves to have the gatefold experience. Okay, so maybe I'll get the entire sort of rock community after me now, but I hail this Love record as the second best Love record out there. I love the early Love. I love the early Love. Yeah, that's a sentence. And I think that Forever Changes is one of the best records ever recorded. They made that sort of West Coast sound perfectly. It's such a good sound and sounding records. But with this false start in 1970, they went to England to record this, and I guess that Arthur Lee was very inspired by one of his friends, Jimi Hendrix, because he almost sounds like Hendrix at times, and the structures and the sort of the writing style of the music compared to the early stuff is completely different. Very much more garagey, psychedelic, British, one might say. So maybe more of an Arthur Lee solo record. I don't know. I don't know the band that much to really dive deep into it. But I love it. It's really good. There's not a bad song. And Jimi Hendrix plays guitar on the first track, and it's a bloody masterpiece, The Everlasting First. On Blue Thumb Records. So they changed from Elektra to Blue Thumb. I don't know if this is the first one that they did sort of the change, but yeah, love. Great record. I mean, we live in a time of internet. We don't have to buy records we don't like. So when I say that I love this record and I love that record, obviously I do. I don't buy records, very seldom at least. I buy records that I don't like. Why would I do that? I can sample them before I buy them and stuff like that. This is also one that it's been on my want list for so long. It's not expensive. It's not super rare. I don't think so anyway. But this is the most psychedelic record you can get. It's a progressive psychedelic record, if I may. This is Hollins and Starr with Sidewalks Talking, 1970 or 69. It's hard to describe this. I mean, I read some reviews of it, and they said in the reviews that this is a acid, folk, progressive, psychedelic, jazz fusion monster. And I mean, yeah, I agree. This takes you everywhere when it comes to the scope of music, really. Great songs, fantastic musicianship, and the production. The production is fantastic on this one. They use sort of the psychedelic effects they push it to the limit, but never sort of letting it take over the record, if you understand what I mean. A lot of these sort of psychedelic records that came there in sort of the late 60s really went 100 on the effects. They wanted to do a Pet Sounds or a Sgt. Pepper. This, in my opinion, never goes that far, but it's effect heavy. A perfect psychedelic record, and get it when you see it, and you will see it, get it. But watch out for the pressing, because look at this. I think this is like 50 gram or something like that. This is thinner than a flexi disc. So this one is one that I've had my eye on for some time. It's not a masterpiece by any means, but it's a cool one. And I think that one of the songs, Don't Bogart Me, were in Easy Rider. So it's one of those sort of classic late 60s psych nuggets. The Fraternity of Man, I think that's how you pronounce it, at least, from 1968. And this is, I mean, it starts off super psychedelic, just like the cover, with the two first songs, very haunting, and great music. Then it just falls into a country ballad about smoking weed, and it goes a little bit back and forth between that. I mean, I'm a huge fan for the quirkiness of the record, but this is not a record that you put on every day, I guess. So before you jump on this one, check it out before you put down any money on it. Produced by Tom Wilson, and one of the artists on here, any of these sort of drug hits, played with Zappa after this, but he got fired because he was tripping on LSD on a live gig, and Zappa just fired him right away. The story is that he tripped on LSD and he didn't even have his amp on. He thought he had, but he was just standing there playing without any amplification. So, and if you know your Zappa, he wasn't a big sort of spokesman for drugs inside of the sort of the musicians, or on stage at least. ABC Records. It's a cool one. Cool psych record, not my favorite. So a short story, and also a quite sad one, actually. I've had this for 6 months now. This is Swamp Blues, a compilation from Blue Horizon, that also put out Fleetwood Mac, of the Louisiana blues circuit. The producer or something like that wanted to bring forth the sort of the Baton Rouge musicians. Everyone knew about Chicago blues and stuff like that, but he made this. The production is stellar, sounds fantastic, and this is the blues that I actually like. I don't have much blues in my collection, but I've played this a few times now. So to the sad story. I think I said this in a video not too long ago, but 3 months ago, one of my best friends passed away. He was 55 years old, and his heart just stopped. He was also a huge record collector, and even more so a hi-fi nut. So he collected good sounding equipment. Yeah, that's a word or a sentence. So when I got this in a big sort of collection that I bought, and I knew it was blues, he was more into this than me. So yeah, shortly after, like a week after I got it or something like that, he asked if he could buy it, and I said, take it home, check it out, see if you like it, if it's your bag, if you think that it sounds as good as you want, and so forth. And he tried it for a couple of months. It has to be months, and then he passed away. So just last weekend I went to his apartment to help his family. Yeah, going to empty the apartment, and I'm helping them with the hi-fi stuff, and yeah, it's still I can't really wrap my head around it still, but yeah, so I took this home with me. He never bought it, or got it, or whatever you want to call it. So in one way, even if it's my record, it's a memory of my friend, and just knowing that he had it and played it, it's nice sort of, it's adding to the record, let's just say that. So yeah, miss him like crazy. So moving on to Turkey, this is a second press of Boris Manko's 2023 from 1977. I think that the first press came out in 1975. This is Turkish psychedelic space rock, space opera almost, with a flair of disco for being 1975. Now, Boris, he was highly influenced by all the sort of the groups that came out from the US and also England, like Beatles and stuff like that. And he tried many years to hit it big, but and went into different sort of band constellations. He had some singles with some of them and stuff like that, but he didn't hit big times, if you know what I mean. And he really struggled. But with this broke through, I think, with this record. And he has released a lot of them since. But this is, and it's been reissued a couple of times. It's a fantastic Turkish record. It's, as I said, a space rock opera. And it's as heavy as his mustache. Pretty cool, almost like do-it-yourself label. And look at that. I mean, that's so cool. Look at that. Double-necked SG sort of Gibson rip-off. And the stash that he has, it's just insane. Great record. It's a rare record. I'm glad I have it now. Both the record and the cover is really, really beat. It doesn't take away too much of the sort of experience playing it, but I hope to score a better copy down the line. But I didn't pay too much for it, so I'm pretty happy with that find. They're not easy to come by. And topping this video off with one of us. This is a Stone Cold classic in the Swedish Prog catalog, and everyone should know about this at least. This is November, their first record, En ny tid är här, or A New Time is Here, a dawning of a new time. I don't know. They are most famous, I think, for the first track, Mount Everest. And I got this from John, one of my favorite vinyl pushers here in Sweden. He has a store called Bebopalula Land, posts a lot on Instagram. I urge everyone to go and check his store out. The stuff that he gets in the shop is just, sometimes it's just mind-boggling. I don't understand how he does it, but I always said that I won't buy this for over 50 euro. And 12 years ago, you could buy this for 50 euro in very good condition. But it's only gone up since. And I think that it's hard today to get it for under 90 or 100, something like that. But due to the fact that it's a little bit beat down here and down here, it's not the perfect copy. The vinyl is fine. I got it for under 50 euro. So I was happy to add it to the collection. Now, I have a reissue of this. I have reissues of all their records, all three. So I sold the reissue for double what this costs. So, and that to me is, I mean, that's a crazy world we are living in, where I can sell the reissue and get the double amount of what I paid for this. That's just insane. But it's going to a great home, and that guy is really happy. So I'm glad, and I'm happy. So yeah, that's it. That's the finds. I hope you had a great time. If you have any questions and stuff like that, just write them down below. And yeah, see you in my next video. Have a great day, everyone.